Keep pressing to me. Hey people, it's your girl Keep Pressing to Me here, coming to you guys with another encouraging video that will help you accomplish your goals, walk in the fullness of your purpose, and draw closer with your relationship with God. So as you can see, we're talking about how to maintain or establish a relationship with God. So in the course of this video, I would like to provide some simple concepts that I have developed within my own walk with God. And let's get into it. So just a little disclaimer here, I'm not saying that what I'm going to provide is the only way to establish a relationship with God. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just providing some concepts or some keys that will help you with your relationship with God. So if you have a different philosophy, or if you have a different outlook, that is fine. It's more than one ways to get to the destination, okay? So if there's something different or something that you feel like I should have added, or if there's a different way that is best for you, comment below. Put it down. It's okay. Again, there's more than one way to skin a cat, okay? So there is no typical order. Again, I'm just providing some concepts and just some attributes that will help you with your walk. So I'm not saying like 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to drop some key concepts that I have discovered within my own walk, okay? One concept that I feel like that would be very beneficial for your relationship is for you to discover the characteristics of God. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like the enemy tries his best to attack believers, to portray and kind of put lies of defeat within our minds, to make us feel as if God is such this cruel person based off how our lives is playing out. It's like, let's just be real, be honest. When COVID started, and we were really seeing everything that's been going on, who we blame? Like, be honest, be real. Who did we blame, And I feel like sometimes our current life, or what we currently see, kind of make us forget the characteristics of God, to forget how good he is, how faithful he is, how he will never leave us nor forsake us. It makes us forget of his mercy, his grace, and his love for us. So I feel like it's so important within our relationship with God is to discover his characteristics. Like, be honest, you're not going to be in a relationship with a person in the natural if you don't know who they are, how they are, or what their likes, what their dislikes, what they're into, what they're not into. That's not how you're going to have a good, successful relationship. So the same concept goes with our relationship with God. It's so important that we learn his characteristics, learn his personality, learn who he is and what he represents. I feel like a great book of the Bible that will help us, start or, reestablish that love or that discover of who God is, who he truly is. I will recommend the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 43 is one of my favorite chapters in the book of Isaiah, and it just kind of breaks down his love, his compassion, his who God is to people like us, okay? So I really do feel like one great concept as you go and as you establish your relationship with God is to discover his characteristics, discover the personality of God. Another concept I want to put out there is the importance of having a holy reverence or fear of God. So I'm not talking about the type of fear like Halloween, like, oh, I'm frightened or I'm just super scared. But no, it's more of a way of having acknowledging the respect and honor of who God is. So it's similar to the way of like you referencing your parent or authoritative figure, somebody who you really like have respect for. you act different. You talk to them differently. Like, you're not gonna talk to them like you talk to your homegirls. No, you're gonna be sure that you have a certain amount of respect and honor towards that individual. So I put that as a concept. I want to use this as a concept within our relationship with God, to always remind ourselves, like, no, God is holy, okay? God is holy. He's sovereign. He's everything. Like, he is God. Okay, he is God. He is Lord of Lords. He is King of Kings. And we must always humble ourselves and realize that, wait, we need to put some respect on his name. That's why it's clear that's one of his commandments. Don't use my name in vain. Okay, so it's always so important within our walk and within our journey, because sometimes, I don't know about y'all, but I can find myself a little loose when I'm having like my spiritual temper tantrums, when I'm just like, well, God, I thought you said this. No, I have to humble myself and be like, you know what, God, you are still God. You are still God, and you are still good. And I think that's something that we will have to always kind of check ourselves within our relationship with God, to always be sure that we are acknowledging the fact that, God, you are good. You are God, and you are God all by yourself. You created me. I did not create you. So always understand that dynamic, and have this reverence and have this ability to worship and honor God solely because he is God and God alone. Another concept, which is one of my favorites that I had to discover within my own walk with God, is that understand the accessibility of God. God is with you always. One of my favorite psalms is 139 Psalm, the 139th Psalm. And in that song, in that chapter, David talks about how God is with us. If I can go to the east, the west, I can make my bed in hell, you will always be with me. And that's something that we must, understand within our walk and our relationship with God. God is with us always. He's a God that never sleeps, no slumber. He is the God of Alpha and Omega. He is with us. He's omnipresent. He's omnipotent. So to make that plain and relatable for us, wherever you at in your life, whether you in the trenches, in the strip club, in the club, in prison, at the halfway house, at your mama house, at somebody else's house, wherever you at, wherever point of life that you are at, God is with you. Okay? He is the I am that I am. Meaning that whatever it is that you are needing of him at that particular time, he is that. If you need a friend, he's a friend. You need a father, he's a father. If you need a mother, he's a mother. If you need like the old folks say, baby, he's a lawyer in the courtroom, guy. He's a doctor in the sit room. He is all things and more. Okay, so I think that is so important for us to understand the accessibility of God. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the evening. He is available to you, meaning that if you need you need thee, baby, he's available. All you have to do is really pray, cry out to him, reach out to him. For me, one of the main ways I love to communicate with God is that I write to him in my journal. I just speak to him. I write to him, like I write him a love letter, and I'm expressing to him who he is in my life and what it is that am in need of at this particular time. He is available. He's accessible to us at all times. And the reason why we have that accessibility is because of the willingness of the ultimate sacrifice of Jesus Christ dying for our sins. He rose up on that 3rd day, got up with all power in his hand, and because of his ultimate sacrifice, us being believers, we have the accessibility of God through the Holy Spirit. He is with us at all times. So no, we ain't gotta burn no sage, we ain't gotta light no candles, we ain't gotta sacrifice no bull or any of those type things to gain accessibility of God, all we got to do is speak and believe with our heart and know that he is with us at all times, and we can feel his presence, and we can open up our eyes and our ear gates and our mindsets to be able for him to respond back to us. It is so possible. So yes, as you can see, that this particular concept is a little bit lengthier than the others, because it is so important for us as believers, as we are walking in our relationship with God, that for us to understand the accessibility of God. God is just not a God who works on Sundays while you are at church. He's not a God who just works, or who you got to go through the Pope, you got to go through the bishop, you got to go through the prophet. All those elements and those gifts and those titles are good, and there are needed for our walk, but it is not the ultimate way. You can be in your bathroom, your kitchen, your bedroom, somebody else's bedroom, and the man is available. You hear me? So yes, it is so important for us to understand the accessibility, the understanding that God is I am that I am, and whatever it is that we are needing, he will be available to provide just that for us whenever we need him. Another concept is that we must understand that our relationship with God is a two-way dynamic, meaning that it requires work from the Lord, which he be doing his part. It also requires a great deal of us doing our part as well. In the natural, if you're going to have a relationship with a person, it takes two to have a successful relationship. It takes one person doing their part, the other person doing their part, for the relationship to come together. That is the same way with our relationship with God. One of my favorite scriptures is Revelations 3:20, when Jesus is saying, I stand in the door and knock, waiting for somebody to open so I can come and dine with you. Dine, D-I-N-E. It's a form of, just like I correlate that with you dining with somebody, with you sitting down and breaking bread with somebody. In the course of that encounter of you talking to that individual and eating with that individual, you guys are sharing. You guys are exchanging. You expressing how you feel while that person expressing how they feel. And you're communicating, you're talking, and you're learning. That is the same way that it is with our relationship with God. He wants to hear from us just as much as he wants us to hear from him. One of the things that it just does something to my mental to know how we serve a God that allows us to have free choice. Just think, look at Adam and Eve. He knew that Adam and Eve was going to he knew that they was going to sin, but he still gave them the ability to have choice. And that's the same concept with us. We have to always be reminded that we have this freedom to have a choice to be in relationship with God. He's not going to force himself to us. He's not going to be this dictator and make it seem like, oh, you got to be in a relationship with me. No, he gives us the ability to come to him and say, you know what, God, I want a relationship with you. I want to know your will. I want to know what are the things that you have, what are the thoughts that you have towards me. And that's something that's called relationship for real. When you get to that posture and you get to that point of your walk when you're no longer just looking at God as a genie in a bottle, where you're just praying to him and you're just asking for his hand, meaning that you're just asking for his blessings and for him to protect you and all that type of stuff, which is good. But it comes to a point where we have to be in our walk with God for us to be like, God, I want to know your heart. I want to know what are the thoughts that you have towards me. What is it that you are wanting me to do? What can I do to serve you here on this side of heaven? It's not, when I say it's a two-way street, it's just not for us to just be like, oh God, give me, or, what can you do for me? But it's in this walk, in this relationship, with you establishing or even maintaining your relationship with God, at some point you need to be at the place where you're like, God, what can I do for you? How can I serve you, God? I just want to be in a posture where I'm just doing the work, the will of you. There are many times where I'm just praying to God. I'm just like, God, I just want to hear what you have to say. I have nothing to say in this course of this conversation. I just want to hear from you. And if you get out your own head and get out your own mentality, I promise you, he will respond. He will speak to you. He will share to you things that he won't share to anybody. One of the dynamics I love so much is the dynamic between God and David. If you read about David, you can see how God had this communication with David, where David, he would ask God a question and be like, well, God, what do you think about this? And God will be like, you can do it. Or he'll be like, you can't do it. Or I give you grace for that. I'll protect you for that. You will win this battle. Like, it was just a two-way dynamic. And that same accessibility and that same way of communication that was spoken way back in biblical days, it's still possible. We just have to learn how to declutter our mind from the ways of the world and be able to adhere to whatever it is that God is saying to us personally. So yes, understand that our relationship with God is a two-way street. Okay, I know I said that another concept was my favorite, but I think I changed my mind. This is my ultimate favorite. Listen, it took many years, and I can be honest, I still struggle with this concept of understanding that with your relationship with God, you have to always remind yourself that you are an imperfect person serving a perfect God. Imperfect person serving in relationship, dwelling, commingling with a perfect God. Listen, the freedom that is in that, there's no words. Understanding that by you being a believer doesn't dictate the fact that you're going to make mistakes, that you're going to fall short, that everything is not going to happen or go as planned. But we serve a God that knows that. That's why he provides us grace and mercy, new mercies every day. That's why he is the God. That's why, again, it is so important to know the characteristics of God. Listen, it took many years for me to understand that me having a relationship with God does not require me to be perfect. It does not require me to just change myself. Like, I always joke and I always be like, you know what, God, I'm trash. Like, listen, I'll fall short a time or two, okay? And it always makes me, it just makes me fall in love with him all over again, because it's like, God, you love me. There's a song by Tasha Cobb that is my jam. This is the song of the season. In spite of me, like, you love me in spite of me, in spite of the fact that there are times where I question you. There are times where my faith wavers. There are times when my hope is a little shaky. There are times where I do wrong. There are times where I fall short. There are times where instead of spending time with you, I would rather binge watch Insecure. There are times where I hear you. You will tell me, you be like to me, I want to spend some time with you. I be like, no, I'm just going to listen to my music, and I ain't talking about no gospel. Then listen to some Jill Scott and sip on some wine and enjoy my night. You love that. You love that. Like, that makes me shout. I'm trying my best to keep myself together. But you love you love an imperfect person. Like, just think, God created imperfect people to not only do great things through him on this side of heaven, but to showcase his love, his compassion for imperfect people. If we learn that concept, if we learn that God loves us in spite of us, man, the freedom, I spit it a little bit. That goes to show you how much that means to me. The freedom that comes with that, the ability to just be in relationship and understand, oh my God, you love me, and I am an imperfect person. Perfection will never be accessible to us, not on this side of heaven. And when we learn that concept, we'll be able to have not only receive this awe and this reverence and this ability to have just a humbleness about ourselves and accept God. Just think about how many people that we, through us being disciples of God, freeing other people out of bondage for them to become saved. Because, you know what, I'm not even gonna get into it. Yes, I am. Because that's something that we as believers, we tend to do. We love to showcase the good side of us. The beauty, like the mask side of us. Nah, man, we just as ratchet as the world. We just as messed up as any other person. You get what I'm saying? But the beauty of it is that the Lord loves us in spite of us. And if we can get back to that concept of just telling people, hey man, I deal with this, and this, but the Lord loves me. Just think how many souls will get saved. Whew, I think I'm gonna end this on this. That's it. Again, guys, like I said, I'm not saying that these concepts is the 6 steps or 5-6 steps for you to have a relationship with God. But again, I just wanted to share some great, tangible, simple attributes that has blessed me within my walk with God. So all I can do is hope and pray that it does something for you. Again, comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear, if there's something else that I missed. Let's have a two-way conversation in the comments below. Also, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Keep Pressing to Me. I want to hear from you. Let me know if there's any other topics that you want me to talk about or anything that you want to discuss in the area of goals, purpose, and God. And yeah, I hope and pray that this blessed you in some form or fashion and that you really be intentional with growing your relationship with God. Because I'm come to tell you, baby, us people, we are some fickle individuals. One minute we will love, the next minute we will crucify. And the beauty of that is that we have a God. We serve a God who change not. He will always be with us. He will always hold our hands. So I challenge us to continue or to start, whether you are maintaining or establishing a relationship with God, that you hold on to God's unchanging hands. Again, I pray that this bless you. Subscribe, like, comment, and also just remind you, we got this because God got us. Keep pressing.